Welcome back to Modern Tactical Shooting. This video is all about turning my M90 into the ultimate race gun for matches. So let's go. Now, I previously made a video about rigging up this M90 for competition, and I posted some competition videos. This is kind of sort of a part 2. This is rigging up this M90. I've made some changes to it, which I'll go over, but rigging it up so this gun can take on the race ARs that you see in 3-gun and 2-gun competition, kind of like this 14.5-inch race gun I have right here. This gun has 0 recoil the way I have it rigged up. It's got a full muzzle brake on it, adjustable gas, and because it's a fur fans rifle, it has a special bolt carrier which reduces the full auto rate on a military gun, but for semi-auto guns, it really cuts down the felt recoil. This gun has nothing, and that's what you're going against when you shoot in the AR or the open division in gun matches here in North Carolina. You're going against ARs that are completely race ready. So you need to rig up, or I needed to rig up this gun to be able to hang with those rifles. All right, so let me talk about the modifications I made to this rifle, which I covered in my M90 in competition, kind of part 1. I'll go over briefly again the initial things that I did to this rifle, and I'll talk about the 2 changes. Now, I replaced the Hogue rubber handguard, which all it did was retain heat, with a TDI Arms one, Zastava brand cheese grater. I have a Krebs ambi safety because I'm a lefty, a Polish barrel or barrel mag release, however you pronounce it, and an ALG trigger. Now, this was sporting an Epsilon brake, and the Epsilon really is I would say a combo flash hider and brake. It does a pretty good job, but I wanted something that was even flatter, and for that I went with a JMac. It is their 4C 14x1 slim model, and really against the Epsilon, this literally has no recoil whatsoever. Of course, the trade-off is it's super loud and gassy compared to the Epsilon, and frankly, that's why I like the Epsilon, because it is kind of a hybrid muzzle flash hider slash compensator. You know, it's not too loud and gassy. As an all-around muzzle device, I think it's great. If you just had one muzzle device and you put it on your rifle and you're going to use that rifle for tactical training, range training, and to shoot matches once in a while, the Epsilon's a great muzzle device. But for a pure race gun, again, to get 0 muzzle rise when I'm shooting, I had to go with the JMac, and this rifle is also set on gas setting number 1. All right, so the other thing I changed on this rifle, previously it had an Atero Arms Bravo mount with a primary arms micro dot, and I switched it out for the Zastava brand side rail. And I have a Vortex 1-8 Strike Eagle on here. It's a Gen 1. I've had this forever. I use it for 3-gun. A great scope for the money, but I am regretting buying the Zastava brand mount. Honestly, I did that to save money. I think it was $105. It's not made by Zastava. It's some aftermarket outsourced side rail mount. It's got good lockup on the rail, but there are 2 things I don't like about it. One, the increased height of a bore. This rail could be a little bit closer to the receiver. Because it sits up so much higher, I had to put a 1/2-inch mag pull riser mount on my Zukov stock so I can get good, cheek to stock contact. And there's flex in this mount. I don't know if there's flex in all side rail mounts, but there's definitely flex in this mount. I don't know if you can see it on camera. And what I'm worried about is in 3-gun and 2-gun matches, you don't sling when you transition to a rifle or to a pistol or a shotgun. You ditch it in a dump barrel, your rifle, or you throw it on a table. So in a 7-stage match, like the one I just shot, that's 7 chances that when I ditch this rifle into a barrel, I could perhaps bump this side rail mount with its flex and maybe lose its 0. And that's just something I don't want to risk. To me, it just seems kind of flimsy. I have this Vortex kind of jury rigged on here to get the proper eye relief. I've got Night Force scope ring mounts, the lowest ones they make, and I had to put them behind the turret as opposed to one in front of the turret and one behind, get the proper eye relief for me. I'm not really worried about that. I'm worried again about this mount. perhaps getting banged around and losing 0. I just don't have a lot of faith in it. I tried to save money, and I think that was a bad decision. I'm going to end up going with, I think, a Midwest Industries side rail mount. They looked a lot lower, and I'm very familiar with Midwest Industry products that make good stuff. So I think I'm going to replace this rail with one of them. Okay, so just how did the M90 do in the gun match? Honestly, it did exceptionally well, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. I made some mistakes in the match, which dragged down my score overall. Had nothing to do with the rifle, had to do with me and just having one really bad stage, which I'm going to include in this video. But I'm going to kick it off with my 2 best stages. I was going against 27 AR shooters. In this first stage I'm going to play, I take 3rd. In this next stage I'm going to play, I take 6th. And I did pretty well because I have a good balance between shooting while moving and employing dynamic movement, especially when you see me go to pistol. I move basically to points where I can see the most targets. Again, it's a balance of one knowing to shoot and move and one just to employ dynamic movement and get to those targets. But check it out in these clips here and make note of the lack of recoil with the rifle. All right, this next stage starts out great. Again, good balance between shooting and moving, dynamic movement. I failed to do a speed reload, so I have to do what's called a flat-footed reload at the very end of the stage. I'm basically standing there reloading my gun just to engage one more target. That cost me a few slots, but not a bad run up until that reload. Let's check it out. All right, in this final video clip, this is where I come apart at the end. Had nothing to do with the M90. Stage starts off pretty well. The problem is when you're running an LPVO, once you start engaging 6-inch plates or reduced size targets at a medium range, basically there's a 6-inch plate rack at about 60, 70 yards at most. You can crank it up to 1.5 or 2 power to help you enlarge the image that you see. You can put a better point of aim. You just don't want to overdo the magnification. You'll start getting tunnel vision, and any slight movement is going to affect your ability to settle your reticle on the plate. Well, if you pay attention to my throw lever at the end of the video, when I get to the plate rack, here's 1 power. I cranked it way too far. I was probably on 6 power, and instead of correcting it, I decided to fight through it. Caused a lot of shots I had to make up, so much so I ended up having to do an extra reload in it. I wasted about 10 seconds, which put me well behind most of the average shooters, so I really bombed this stage. But that's how it is in a gun match. You know, learn from your mistakes and get better, but check it out right here.
Stand by. I'm looking so clear.
So there you have it, my M90 in competition. I'm really digging it. I think AKs are the way to go for me, not because I'm crazy about the reliability aspect of an AK. Frankly, I've been shooting ARs and M4s in the military for 26 years, and I'm just getting a little bored. I want to challenge myself, and the AK platform, these point really well for me. And going to 5.56, you know, this is definitely something that I think is pretty neat. I want to mention my courses real quick. I'm currently running a course here in North Carolina at Woody's Rifle Club in New Hill, North Carolina, about once a month. April 2nd, I have open slots for my pistol and rifle course. I call it Skills and Drills. That's April 2nd. You can sign up through my website, moderntacticalshooting.com. In mid-March, March 19th, I'm going to be in Colorado Springs for a 2-day rifle pistol course. There's one slot left. Again, you can go to the registration page on moderntacticalshooting.com. And at the end of April, April 30th to May 1st, I'm going to be just west of Atlanta, teaching a 2-day rifle pistol course there. Right now it's a closed course, but if slots do open up, of course, we'll post it up on social media and let everybody know. So there it is, my M90 in competition. It is my race AK, and if you come to North Carolina and you see me out at the matches, I'll be rolling with this bad boy right here. But as always, enough watching me. Go out, hit the range, get your shoot on. By all means, if you've never tried shooting in a gun match, I urge you to do so. They're a heck of a lot of fun, and if you do them enough, they will make you a better shooter. But as always, I'm Jeff Gerwich. Thanks for watching.